a piece home. Take me back.
Take a piece home, yeah. This meeting is being recorded and will be uploaded to Biddle Town Council YouTube page. The aim is that the discussion making should be as transparent as possible and in the public domain, and it will involve more of the community in local democracy. By being in this council chamber, you are consenting to be recorded and for your image to be added to the YouTube. The images and sound may be used for training purposes. Any views expressed by the speakers are their own and do not necessarily reflect the view of Biddle Town Council. Please view the guidance on recording and public meetings policy if you need any more information. Thank you very much. Right, could we have some lights on, please, if that's all right? Thank you.
Get a gas bill.
Thank you. It's all right. I've got a cataract in my right eye, which will be operated on next month. So it's a bit dark for me at the moment. I haven't crossed the dark side yet. Right. I don't know. Apologies. Same as Councillor Jones, I think.
It's Councillor Jones for this committee.
Right. Declarations of interest. Councillor Smith's had to leave, so Councillor Smith added to apologies. Okay. Disclosable pecuniary interests and dispensations. Are there any? No. No. Other interests? No. Okay. To approve and sign the minutes of the Recreation and Amenities meeting held on the 11th of June. May I do that, please? All those in favour? Thank you. I'll do that now. Thank you, Chief Officer. That's how I got the last pen. We're halfway through. Doing well.
It's wrong, isn't it?
You just come in. Should be able to remember the date on this. Well,
68 candles on it.
yeah, I could 68 candles fixed it. All Staffordshire Fire Brigade. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And there we are. That's all done. Right. Item requested by Councillor Holsworth to receive a report on an email sent regarding enhancements to the Halls Road Recreation Ground. Chief Officer.
Okay.
Councillor Holsworth.
Thank you.
Would you like to introduce this, please?
Right. In April of this year, I received an email from Councillor Matt Swindlehurst. I don't have to stand up there.
No, not on the committee.
The district apparently have identified 3 sites for green space development, and Halls Road playing fields is one of them. The district apparently want to develop a site management plan in line with the green spaces strategy. And the town councils are to be central to this process. He wants apparently to encourage all town councillors to identify ways in which we can develop Halls Road over the next 3 to 5 years.
Thank you.
I'm the only person who has received an email from Councillor Swindlehurst.
Looks that way. 2 of you.
I may not have received an email because my emails now have just changed over to a new broadband, so I've got to set that back up again.
It's not technically our ward either.
No, it
It's
isn't.
technically West, isn't it?
It's West Ward.
But can I just say, if Councillor Swindlehurst's idea of getting this council to do something for Halls Road is by emailing Billy No Mates here, just me, what's he playing at? What on earth does he want to get from this council if all he does is email me?
You may have emailed other people, but they may have not picked up the email. I say,
This is April.
Oh, April, is it? Oh, right, okay. Councillor Yates.
Yes, reading the email, I thought you'd emailed councillor Swindlehurst regarding the proposal to convert the changing rooms into an alternative use.
I did.
Yeah, and that was the response which you come back with.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why it's only responded to you, because,
But he wants all the councillors.
well, that's the second point. All councillors, a Biddletown Council, have had the opportunity to review the plans because they reviewed in the Environment Committee, which everybody was open to attend. And the minutes of the Environment Committee were ratified at the last either Recreation and Community or Town and Community, whichever it came through to. And then they were ratified by the last full council. So the consultation has been done.
And what was it?
There was a consultation on the potential for meeting 30% biodiversity gain on Halls Road playing fields. And that's been presented. The Environment Committee signed it through. It was minuted. It went through to the next committee and it's been approved. In fact, there was a PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah, wasn't it?
I was happy.
Good, that's two of you.
Let's try and keep it through the chair, please.
Chair, that's two of them.
All right. So, Chief Officer, where do you suggest we go from here? Sorry.
Is that the only opportunity people get to contribute towards this process?
There is a specification being drawn up, which will be presented, but in principle, the decisions have been made, yeah.
It's a waste of time, isn't it? Chair, it's a waste of time. It's a complete waste of time. All councillors are supposed to be involved in this.
All councillors were invited
Were they?
with the chair.
I think.
I think normally the process to go through, Chair, if we've got something that we want all councillors to contribute to, would be to send something out to all councillors rather than just the agenda. So perhaps we could send the presentation out. If there's still some opportunity to contribute, perhaps we could do that.
Would you be happy with that?
Well, is there an opportunity to contribute from what Councillor Yates was saying? It's all done and dusted.
So where do we go from here? I need a proposal from the floor. So Councillor Rogers,
Thank you, Chair. I'm sorry, Councillor Holdsworth, but I may have misunderstood this email myself. I thought it was keeping us in the loop with what you and Matt Swindlehurst have been discussing, because I know you've been doing a project on that site. And where you skimmed through it and not read it in depth. I'm sorry about that.
I presented to this committee last year about the potential for public toilets and the cafe.
I know, and I thought this was keeping us in the loop of what the discussions were, you say.
Well, there were no discussions because I got nothing back from this committee.
Right.
My memory serves me right. Councillor Holdsworth put something on an agenda item and had to leave, so it wasn't discussed.
It was discussed.
It might be.
Well, according to Councillor Smith, it was discussed.
My memory, when it was.
to the chair, please.
And you had to leave for whatever reason, that we didn't actually discuss it. We didn't push it forward any further. We waited for you to come back.
Through the chair, please. According to Councillor Smith, there was a proposal which was seconded and agreed that there would be costings done for the public toilets that I was talking about. That apparently was in the minutes.
Yeah, isn't it?
Last year.
Find the minutes down.
We need to find the minutes. I think the best thing, Councillor Jackson, you want to come in?
To try and move it forward, could I ask the chief officer, not tonight, but to actually go through the email trail of this particular issue, so we're all clear on it. I'm not saying I'm 100% right, and I'm not saying you're 100% right either, but at least let's get the email trail sorted out to say what happened when, I mean, I've just picked up.
I would agree.
A meeting from February this year.
Yeah.
That I'm pretty sure I attended, but I don't know whether many others did or whatever. But let's get the email trail sorted out where this office has sent emails out to councillors, because I think perhaps people have forgotten they've had emails. It's very easily done. We do get a lot of them. So just to clarify exactly where we are with this, because I think we seem to be at slightly cross purposes. I remember you wanting to enhance the toilets with Kathy, and then I've not a problem with that one. But this one, Matt Swindlehurst is about something outside of that particular. It's a much wider thing about the management of the land.
Yeah. I tend to agree that there's something got missed out here, so I would suggest that you can check the email trail to see what there was and what we've.
I won't have been copied into any of this, and definitely haven't sent a presentation out about the consultation. So the 4 people who were at the working group contributed to that, but that definitely haven't sent that.
Yeah,
So I can.
I've got 3 speakers, Councillor Holsworth,
No question, I can wait.
Councillor Rogers, Councillor Harper and Councillor Cogs.
Spoke, so I just spoke to that.
Councillor Harper?
Thank you, Chair. I think, for me, I think Nigel said it's done and dusted. I might be misquoting him there, but is it actually done and dusted? Because if it's done and dusted, it's exactly done and dusted, and there's sweet that we can do about it. But, you know, I quite agree with what Kevin has been saying earlier on. Because Alan, with great respect, you had left.
I did,
And we couldn't progress it because you'd left.
but you talked about.
No, I can't, because we couldn't progress it because the main.
I can only.
Interested.
Through the chair, please.
Knows exactly what went on. You weren't here, so how can you say we talked about it?
I'm telling you what Councillor Smith said.
Right. Harper, you have the floor.
Yeah, because what happened, you left the chamber, we couldn't progress it because the main speaker, which was you, wasn't there. So that's why we never discussed it. So I don't know if Charlie's got him in a twist or what, but honest to God, you left the chamber, so it couldn't be progressed.
With respect, this is all academic.
No,
Hold on.
This is totally academic because it doesn't relate to what I was talking about a few minutes ago. I was talking about Councillor Swindlehurst wants the council to get together and put a proposal forward for development of Halls Road. What I wanted last year is academic. This is a completely different thing, which apparently has already been agreed.
Can I just?
I'll
wind up, I promise you.
Please, if you would.
What I will say, you know, as I've known Matt a short while, but I truly believe he's a very honourable man. And if he's asking for some help or guidance, what we would like, I think we should give it to him. If it is done and dusted, there we go. But I think everybody's got to wind their necks in a bit. And I'm the last one to say this sort of thing. But, you know, let's be reasonable about it. And if we can get the opportunity to discuss it, fair enough. But if we can't, then we can't.
Thank you, Councillor Harper.
Very quick question, please. What date's on your email? I'm seeing if I've got a copy of it. There is a date on your email.
Councillor Brownlove's got a copy of it.
Yeah, I've got the email trail open here. Yeah. So Councillor Holdsworth emailed Councillor Swindlehurst on the 22nd of April, as Councillor Holdsworth said. Councillor Swindlehurst's response was within a couple of hours on the same day. Yeah, identify 3 initial pilots, blah, blah, blah. And then there was a response in the trail from Councillor Smith to Councillor Holdsworth on the Wednesday, so April 24th. Please see attached minutes where this item was discussed at committee. You didn't stay for the discussion, but several councillors expressed their thoughts during the debate on the item. You responded, Councillor Holdsworth, saying received, thank you. Not sure they are relevant after the mail received from Matt Swindlehurst. That's as far as the.
That's it. Thank you. Thank you very much. Right, I've got Councillor Kosiki,
Yeah, I don't.
Councillor Brady.
Any email about any proposals for Halls Road. I'm just confused as to what is proposed for changing rooms at Halls Road.
It's irrelevant. That part of it is irrelevant to this.
But in relation to toilets, isn't it the case that there is a toilet available? If you have a key, you know, the players there.
Yeah.
And there's also a refreshment van on there as well, so that presumably caters for any requirements.
Thank you very much, Councillor Kosiki. Thank you. Councillor Brady, final speaker.
Yeah, Chair, I think we're moving a little bit away from what the agenda item is, but I think if the council has questions of Matt and the way he's gone about it, or questions about how it works, he could email Matt and ask those questions, and then he'll have the answers. It can report back to us on that.
Councillor Yates, you want to just, you've got a point of clarification, I
The
think.
clarification, the Halls Road and Biddle Valley Park and Biddle for that matter, as well as similar sites in Leek and Cheadle, are pilot sites for the green spaces policy, which is Staff Smallland's wide policy, which is being developed as a response for the Plan for Nature and the restoration of biodiversity loss, which requires, which is a national requirement, that 30% of all land is managed for nature. So therefore, within that, a minimum of 30% of all SNDC land is managed for nature. So each area of green space, and that is every single area of green space which is owned by Staffordshire District Council, potentially your housing, Staffordshire County Council, which includes Verges as well, will be managed with that target of 30% of the land area managed for nature. Now, the two pilot sites in Biddle are Biddle Valley Park and Walls Road playing fields. So we're looking at achieving a minimum of 30% of the land area is actually managed for nature of one type or another. Now, Walls Road playing field is primarily a recreation ground. So within the green spaces policy is a hierarchy of uses, where I think the second one is maintain amenity value. The first one is maintain heritage. If it happened to have a bandstand on there, then you wouldn't be looking to remove the bandstand to enhance biodiversity, for example. And that does apply, because that applies in Cheadle where there is a bandstand. It applies obviously in Leek where there's a bandstand, and other heritage features if there was a heritage fountain or whatever. Second part is maintaining amenity, and amenity is obviously the children's playground, the sports pitches and things like that. So what that does, that blanks out those areas. What it does do, it leaves the other areas to say, is there something which can be done to achieve this 30% biodiversity? Now, what happened a few years ago, informally, areas were left fallow, effectively. I mean, if you look at the banks of the embankments and the hummocky land there. So in some respects, what it's doing, it's formalising an informal arrangement. So what you see now, which is outside of the management plan, is pretty much, which hadn't been mown, it's pretty much the 30%, which we need to look at that. But to do it properly and to do it with a bit of science background, there is a project being undertaken with Keele University and in conjunction with Staffordshire Wildlife Trust. So they've been taking soil samples, which assess various things, but it also assesses the suitability of whatever seeds can be planted there, both from an annual and a perennial point of view. So they are now developing up a scheme, and it was discussed as the Plan for Nature was discussed, and a presentation was given at the Environment Committee, not last meeting, but the meeting before, and it was discussed in detail. The attendance was poor, but we did make the comment at the time that, you know, everybody has been invited to these meetings, and it's like all consultations. How many consultations do we have downstairs? And then nobody turns up, and then 3 weeks later, there's a crescendo on Facebook about how we're supposed to know about these things. There's an element of reading the information which comes through. However, there will be a draft specification published, so there's no reason why that draft specification can't come back to here for discussion. But the principle of having to achieve that national target on our land is something which is absolutely paramount to our commitment to both mitigation of climate change and also biodiversity net gain.
Thank you for that point of clarification. That's what it was. It was point of clarification. Councillor Kasiki, you wish to come back?
Yeah, is the target an aspiration and is it compulsory?
Compulsory.
And how much are the anticipated savings in not cutting 30% of the recreation areas?
You want to come back?
You want another point of clarification and answer?
We are cutting the amenity areas, as I stressed. We're not going to leave the football pitches, children's play areas unmown or unkempt. There is no forecast saving at this moment in time because the material handling at the end of the year is actually quite expensive and requires a significant capital investment to harvest the cuttings. What we can't afford to do is just cut the grass, which has been the case in the informal methodology at the moment. What they do is they hack the grass down and leave it. Well, the problem is that provides too many nutrients to the ground.
Right.
And what it does, it encourages the wrong type of species. It encourages nettles, brambles, and docks. What we are looking for is a multi-biodiverse landscape. So the grass will have to be harvested and disposed of correctly. Now, the irony is that grass is actually treated potentially, there's still a debate going on, as contaminated waste, because there's no guarantee it hasn't got dog waste in it. There's no guarantee it hasn't got litter in it. So it can't be used for primary silage uses and go to feed cows, which effectively the same machinery would harvest silage in a field. It potentially could go for anaerobic digestion. Potentially, it could go for composting. None of those things are added value and do come with a cost. The feeling is over time, and all the indications are over time, over a number of years, there would be cost saving once the amortization of the capital expenditure has gone. However, the driving force is not cost. The driving force
Councillor Yates.
Improve the biodiversity.
Okay, thank you very much.
Tell you what it is.
Thank you.
Can
Finally, go on. Chief Officer.
But is it compulsory, these targets? Are they
Yes.
compulsory? It's
National targets. National targets. Officer.
Will it be possible to send out the presentation that you did at the Environment Working Group?
Yes.
Because the minutes say that town and parishes will play a role in identifying years where discussion about the 5-year programme could happen. So I don't think anybody would assume from those notes that actually that was our response to the consultation. And normally consultations wouldn't go to a working group, they'd go to a committee or direct to town council.
Yes.
So actually members probably haven't had the opportunity to contribute as much as they might want to have done. So if there is still a chance to have that conversation and to feed into that, perhaps we could have the presentation. I'll send it out and then I will combine some responses.
Is that okay? In the meantime, the chair and the vice chair will have a chat with Councillor Swindlehurst because our vice chair is the vice chair of the authority as well. So carries some weight. So we'll have a lot of it. But it does. Thank you. Yes. Okay, that's it.
One thing,
Yeah, very brief.
very quickly. Is there any chance it can be discussed? And any changes made, or is it done and dusted?
No, it's not done and dusted.
You said it was.
It's done and dusted in the context that we are including it as a pilot site, absolutely. The actual I haven't seen a specification. All which the presentation is, as a point of clarification through the chair, is a sort of blotted out example of the different landscapes which we can use. And to be perfectly honest, because it's been done in an informal manner, it's effectively set where the obvious places are to do the work. We either carry on in a haphazard, informal manner, which is
Very much, Councillor Yates. Councillor Holdsworth, can we leave it at that, please, and we'll do some work.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay, thank you very much. Let's move on. To see a verbal update on the memorials following the recent memorial testing programme. Chief Officer.
Yeah, so we gave you an update of the presentation at the last committee meeting about the process that we've gone through with regards to memorial testing. So you'll be aware that we've tested over 4,000 memorials over the past couple of months. Unfortunately, but I suppose positively as well, only 12 of those have failed. And today we've had a little gathering down at the ground in the rain and with very wet shoes after we'd finished. So we met with representatives from the church, 2 church wardens, and 2 or 3 others as well from their kind of management structure there to talk about what we were going to do about the 12 that have failed. So we've visited each one of those graves. They are either not an imminent danger but will need repair, or they have been staked already or sealed off so that you can't get to them. So as regards kind of imminent danger, they're okay at the moment. We obviously do need to have a plan in relation to those 12, but we think we've come up with some ideas today. So in terms of where we are, I will put together a more formal action plan, but obviously we've only had the meeting this morning, but I wanted to keep you aware so that you can manage the risk. To kind of run through the process so far, we applied for the faculty. So we've now, we believe, returned all the paperwork to the diocese that they require to confirm that we have completed the memorial testing. We now have a period of time, which we think is 2 years, to complete those changes. We don't need to apply for an additional faculty for each repair that we do, which is a relief because it took us about 18 months to get this faculty. As I say, it looks as though the health and safety has been managed pretty effectively so far. The process that we've agreed to go through with the team at St Lawrence's is we're going to try and identify grave managers for those 12. That will be unlikely to yield much in the way of results. Obviously, some of those are from 1900s, so it may be that there's a family member who's willing to come forward and contribute to the repairs. It probably is unlikely that we can trace people. We are required as part of the faculty to advertise that we are looking for people and ask them to come and contact us as regards trying to identify them. So we're required on the faculty to do that through the Stoke Sentinel. We'll also do that through the Chronicle as well. And we did wonder whether some social media might get some results as well to say, you know, we've gone through this process of memorial testing. If you are responsible for a very old grave in the Bow, let us know. Because it might be that people can't afford or don't want to repair that, but we wouldn't want to exclude them from discussions about what we did as regards that memorial. So the next process really is to write a specification for the repairs to those 12, and then to ask some quotes as regards to how much that would cost. As part of that process, we'll contact the Moorlands Partnership Board to see if they're still running the programme whereby they will repair memorials. There will be other schemes as well, we think, that will may be able to contribute towards that. Particularly 2 or 3 of them are very kind of historic as well. It may have some value there. And throughout that whole process, we'll keep bringing that to you.
Thank you, Chief Officer. Councillor Park, Vice Chair, wishes to add something.
Yeah, and just a thought with regard to tracking these people down, or potentially tracking them down, and obviously doing it for free. Have we thought about contacting and speaking with the local genealogical societies? Because that's the kind of thing that they love to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We spoke about them today because actually the church, because of the way they've had to kind of hand over records in the past, are very much reliant on the previous piece of work that the genealogical societies have done in terms of the very old headstones. So
Right, thank you very much. Any questions on that matter? No? Thank you very much. We're going to move on to item 15 to receive a verbal update on the feedback on the development of the new Gardner Remembrance following the meeting on the 27th of June, which I attended.
Thank you. So a small group of us got together to pore over the plans that we'd had
yes.
from, it's a very first draft of the plans for the new garden of remembrance at the Woodhouse burial ground. We talked about those briefly in this last committee, but one of the some of the recommendations that we were going to put forward with your approval to the architect, he'd originally specified above ground sanctums. Actually, when we've looked at those, we felt that that would be too costly for the people who would want to use them. The purchase of those can be several £100s, which might mean that it is out of the reach of some people who want to inter the cremated remains of their relatives. So we kind of reverted back to one of our original ideas, which was the smaller headstones, and that we would have those back to back as they currently are at Woodhouse, with the potential for 4 sets of cremated remains within those graves.
Yes.
We hope that will then maximise grave space. They do take up less space than the sanctums. In terms of the original plans that we looked at last time, we agreed that we liked the tree sculpture, where potentially you could buy a leaf on the sculpture. We liked what they called the crinkle crankle wall, although we weren't necessarily very keen on the term crinkle crankle wall, but we liked that. So people could potentially as well have that on the wall. And we liked the idea of the postbox to heaven. So that was the initial feedback to the architect. And if nobody has any particular issues with that, I'll put that to him. And then we'll get another version of the plans for us to look at again. We were hoping very much that actually the first phase, it's the scheme, if you recall, is in 2 phases. The first phase is less likely to need planning permission than the second phase, because the second phase includes the wall, those sort of structural aspects that might need planning permission. So hopefully we proceed with the first phase initially. We could just get on with that sooner rather than later.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I've got one speaker. I must say that the people that contributed to that working group really did a very good brainstorming session, and a lot of stuff was discussed and came out, and I think the working group did a good job in preparing us for this work that we've got to do. Councillor Jackson.
I'm just sort of really reiterating that it's getting, this work needs to be progressed fairly quickly, because we're getting pretty full in the garden of remembrance on the other side. So it needs really something. I'm looking this year, Sarah.
Me too.
Time scale.
Yeah,
That's the general idea. We understand your urgency, Councillor Jackson. I have the same, and I'm sure others on this committee have the same sort of priority. Councillor Yates.
Is there any costing indication if we've got?
Not yet.
So are you actually happy that the chief officer progresses this on? I need a proposer and a seconder. Councillor Siki and Councillor Proudlove. All those in favour? Good. We need to get a move on this. We've got a good opportunity here. Thank you very much for that. Jobs for the linksman, standing agenda item. Have any of you got jobs for the linksman? Councillor Harper, you got one?
Yeah, it's on I suppose he's got to declare an interest in this one. But I'm interested in Nigel's 30%, because I think the grass at the front of my place on the verge is part of that 30%.
Not right yet. It might be, but not yet.
Yeah, not yet.
Thank you for that.
Once they sort of, whoever it is that cuts the grass stops, and then the rest of us, it's just growing and growing and growing. And every now and again, we go out and do business with it. But considering I've been doing it for about 20 years now, I think somebody owes me some money for doing it. So could the landsman do that? You know where I live.
Yeah, I know. We know where you live.
Yeah.
As well.
There was an anecdote from Councillor Yates that he went up to have a look at some roadworks or something and got collared by some residents who were complaining about their grass not being cut in front of their houses. And you rather caught it a bit there, didn't you?
I was kept everywhere I go, to be honest.
I know the feeling.
The
feeling.
Just existence going out to see things. Yes.
List, that's all. I know.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right. Nobody else?
Yes,
Councillor Kosicki.
I had my hand up. Right.
Oh, right. Councillor Kosicki, then Councillor Yates.
Isn't it the case that the town council cuts those verges on banana bin?
We don't cut those
No,
now.
we don't.
Oh, you haven't cut that bit outside councillor Harper's
Who
house?
cuts that then? If I may through the chair, remember that map you sent out to,
Yeah.
and you wanted the councillors if they knew any bits of grass and all that sort of stuff? Well, that was me. And, you know, it's a waste of space, isn't it, really? But somebody's got to cut it, surely to God. It's somebody's responsibility.
Often.
Well, yeah.
Well, it could simply be the case that the town council just cuts the verges outside your house, just a little bit further.
You know, who I'd have to.
That would be the simplest.
Definitely have to.
That would be the
Thank you.
Yeah.
Councillor Yates.
Talked about that.
Yes, just a couple of things on that, because they're quite wide verges, aren't they? I've got,
Yeah.
I'm spying on you. I presume they're county. I presume they're classed as highways, to be
I
honest.
thought they were.
They're not an extension of your home. So, and there's been no changes to the highways regime. The only thing which I can say about highways is that all the grass cutters this year have suffered from the extreme wet weather. As a consequence, the first cut was late, and that has caused a lot of difficulties and a lot of damage to equipment as well. So I'm not making excuses. I'm giving a reason for the logic. So, but there's no reason on that. What I will say about verges is that there is a nature in your neighbourhood lottery project where the Staffordshire Wildlife Trust have been awarded £650,000 to do a study of the verges in the Staffordshire moorlands with a view to increasing their biodiversity. Now, within that, there will be a consideration of changing mowing regimes, which means that, and you'll see on my fantastically hand-drawn presentation when we get it through, which for those who went to the Environment Committee, is that you'll see that includes mowing a threshold strip in places, but not necessarily mowing the full width. So it's
Correct.
so it has an implication that it looks managed. But communication, what's called a comms plan, as in putting a plaque on the side of it. In other places, it actually means changing the verges to shrubberies. And that.
Thank you, Councillor Yates.
From a lens.
I need to move on.
Got there.
It's very interesting what he's saying.
What you need to do is start doing the Environment Committee meetings.
It's not jobs for the legsman.
What?
Well, let's move.
Jobs for the lensman. The house of multiple occupancy, the flats on the corner of Craigside, just below the traffic lights. There is an overgrown shrubbery on a piece of land of unidentified ownership. It's significantly removed from the large house that suggests.
Yeah.
Significantly removed from the large house to suggest that it actually is part of the footprint of the house plot. And it definitely is in Staffordshire Moorlands District Council.
Your house.
Well, I was looking at that, but there is a degree of detachment.
Yeah.
Right, the shrubs have got to the point where there's no pavement whatsoever, and it really does need cutting back. So if there's your housing, then we get a.
We'll have a word with.
Officer
will have a word with your house.
Me and Andy Warham, who is the new biodiversity green spaces officer, were looking at it this morning, and we were really struggling to identify who it should be. We were sceptical about your housing. But if you think it is, if we can get that put back, it's dangerous.
Councillor Proudlove, the last speaker.
Thank you, Chair. If Chief Officer has issues with your housing, can she please let me know? Because I'm currently involved in a, let's say, with your housing.
In conflict with them.
Actually, very recently, my experience has been positive, but then I contact
What can you?
the senior managers. I don't know what it's like at.
We'll liaise with you over that.
I will be.
Thank you very much.
Councillor
Kosicki.
In relation to Halls Road, the overgrown hedge, The sign is completely obscured for Halls Road. The stop sign is completely overgrown as usual. It's like this every year.
Can't mention that.
Never gets.
Right, thank you very much. We'll have a look at that. And even point of information is,
Information is that the county council have got a small amount of funding for an environment team, short term, to resolve some problems. That specific issue has been put on the submitted list for them to resolve because it's too dangerous for the Lensman. They need a temporary rolling.
it's very dangerous.
But isn't it also the case that it's the wrong time of the year? That's what I've been told in the past, bird nest
Excuses,
No, it's okay.
all that.
It's okay now.
Body with a brain, check.
Okay, be dealt with by the councillor Yates. Thank you very much for that information. Right, we're going to move on. Harper.
One last one. Grange Road on the bend, I've mentioned this before, there was a chevron because it's a bad, nasty, dangerous bend if you're going fast. There's a black and white chevrons there, that big, like that, but a lot of it is overgrown and just a little bit of it's peeking through. I think that needs cutting back so you can see this big chevron, which to
Okay.
give you an idea which way the road bends.
Okay.
Whereabouts,
Thank you. Thank you for that, by the way, Mr. Vice Chair, for noting that I was,
whereabouts
Yes.
on Grange Road is it?
Where
if
about?
you're going towards the pub, it's on the right.
Yeah.
By the
Thank you.
country park?
Yeah, honestly, it was there last night.
Oh,
You'd left the pub.
They've been upset. They've been upset. Thank you very much, councillor Harper, for that. We'll take that up on advisement.
I think that might be, is it the country park wall?
Could well be.
I think that might be a Staffordshire Well Act issue, but I'll
Oh,
find out,
well.
I'll find out.
because they'll be responsible.
Right.
I'll find that out.
Thank you very much. We're going to move into confidential now. So you of us on YouTube will be not seeing this. Thank you very much for your attendance and listening to what we've been discussing. So